questions. So it helps. You're always available, so I appreciate that.
I'm not always available, but I make myself available for you. Don't tell anyone else that, but they're probably going to hear this now
Oh,
anyway.
right now the secret's out.
I know. Okay, Brandee, you are the OG of Freedom Frenchie Fosters, as my kids call it. Every time we're like going to see Brandee, they're like the OG Brandee. So, how do you like being called that?
I don't, but it's fine. I'll go with the flow. I always say I don't know why. I don't think I've done anything more than what somebody else does, if anything, maybe less. I see some of the fosters you have and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have so many dogs and have done so much, but I appreciate the recognition. So I guess
Well,
I'll
you
own it.
have two of your own dogs, so I mean, right?
Yeah, I do. I
And
do.
elaborate on those guys a little bit.
So I have a pit bull, and her name's Lola. I rescued her from the pound. She's the best dog ever. If she could just spend her life in the backyard hunting for critters, that's all she wants to do. So easy, easy dog. And then I have Rocco. He's an American bully. Kind of inherited him. And I will say, anybody, if you're going to look into this breed, do your research because he is a lot of work, a lot of money, but he's just the cutest little boy. I love him to death. So,
I love him. I love coming over and seeing him. He's my guy.
yeah.
What does Lola bring to your door? Does she bring like critters that she catches to you?
Luckily, she's not a very good hunter because I don't particularly like. She has gotten some birds and she did get a lizard, and it makes me sad. So, and she's just so proud. But usually, if I see her to where she's cornered something, I'll make her come in. But yeah, she's only gotten a couple things.
She's
So
always sweet. She loves playing with the Fosters when they come over. Like I think she does really good with them.
she's I tell her all the time she's a good foster sister.
I love her.
She likes to play with them.
Okay. So I want to ask you some questions. We'll see how this goes, but I'm just getting used to
Okay.
this whole podcast thing too. So welcome to all of it. What do you like most about fostering these Frenchies, and have you fostered for other rescues before?
I fostered for Maricopa County Animal Control
Hmm.
for a small time. This is the most I've ever fostered. I've worked at another rescue before, and then I also had volunteered with Maricopa County. So yeah, this is the first time I've had fosters like consistently. Maricopa County would be maybe for a week, maybe a couple days,
Okay.
something like that. But yeah, this is the first time I've ever like dedicated fostering.
Like a foster based rescue or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, like, what intrigued you about fostering the French bulldogs or just like the bully breeds in general, I guess?
So it's funny, I've never even really been around a French bulldog before I met you. I mean,
Okay.
literally, I might have seen one pass on the street or, you see them a lot more now, but back in the day, they were pretty few and far between.
Right.
So this is my first experience, but it's funny how it all came about. I have a friend, she had a booth. She sells candles and all this stuff. And she was next to your booth and she sent me a picture of Gordito.
Hmm. He was like our
And she was
first.
like, yeah. And he was so cute. And I was busy. I couldn't go down there because I do want to adopt eventually another dog, but I didn't get down there on time. And she ended up adopting him. And
Right.
so that's how she met your rescue and the people involved. But she had forwarded me that you guys needed fosters, and
Yeah.
I had the time, and so I decided to reach out to you.
That was when we were first starting. Like, I just applied for my 501c3. Like, at that time, it was
Mm.
October, something like that, when I applied. So I was just waiting for approval, and I had Bishop. So, because like so Gordo and Abby, which your mom has Abby, she adopted Abby. She's in Colorado,
Hmm.
living her best life, running the whole freaking house. That bitch is
She
running the
re-
whole fucking house, right?
she really is. I laugh all the time. I'm like, yeah, this dog is so spoiled. She's a terror,
Yeah,
but she's
with
really
one
funny.
eye. And she's older too. She's like 6, 7 years old. She's an older girl too. So she runs everything. I love getting pictures
Yeah.
of her from your mom and stuff. I think it's awesome. But those two are my first ones. And like, I was trying to pull from shelters in the beginning at that time. And I got them at like the end of July, like the beginning of August. And someone had posted them on Adopt a Pet, like together for $400. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go get them. Like the guy is like, I just want them out. So the kids and I went to San Diego and he was just like, here, like fast, like just take the dogs. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
Penelope's in here. She's going to bark at everything. So I took them and the kids and I always laugh because Gordo was just such a lump. Like he's just like all the time sitting there. But we had him neutered and like we're Bryce and I were just talking about this in the car today. We're like talking about, the dogs and I'm like, I just want to cut their balls off. Like I can't, like they're humping and they're, more aggressive, whatever. Sometimes it calms them
Hmm.
down. And I'm like, Rex, the English bulldog we got him, like, he's going to have the saggiest sack ever. Like, it's going to fucking suck. And then Bryce was like, oh, no, no. Gordito had the biggest sack ever. Like, we were just in the
He
car. We
doesn't
were
even
like,
look like he's neutered.
right. We're like, that sack. That sack. Like, they might as well put some noodles in there for that guy just so we could hang out with him or something. I don't know. But we were laughing about it today. That was funny. Those are my first two. And then Bishop, which you temp fostered until he was going to Northern California to his new home. So yeah, and then Nova. Like those were my first two shelter pools, Bishop and Nova.
Oh,
But
okay.
I guess
I
that's how it
never.
started. Yeah, like I just started like that. But I was always fostering. I fostered for Peace for Pits in Chicago a few times, and then I ended up pulling my own pity from the shelter, and he was an older guy, and he was just so aggressive. And this, I didn't know a lot about all of this stuff. You know what I mean? I was
Mhm.
fostering, and I didn't know how deep it really went. That was way before COVID, a few years before COVID. So at that time, my sister got a French bulldog, and my son was like, "Oh, I just want a Frenchie. Like, I want a Frenchie." And that was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So he found one. He saved up half his money. It was like $1,800 for this Frenchie, and he was already a year and a half old. So we got him. And then I guess in Illinois, it just started escalating, and we started getting more Frenchies. And then I was just like, and I would pick them up and they were in these like shitty ass conditions. They were breeding like in apartments and shit. I would pay for them. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna pay for them. And then,
Mhm.
my friends or whatever they were like, they will take them. So I guess that's how it started. And I was always like, I'm gonna have a Frenchie farm. I'm gonna have a Frenchie farm. Like, I just wanna live on a Frenchie farm when I'm old and shit like that. And we moved here and it just kind of turned into this. So I got my 501 and that was approved in January and off she went after that. But I think after once we linked with you and we had our first event in the fall, was it the fall? Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it was
I
the
think I
fall. I
took
think,
Bishop the end of October. Hmm.
yeah, that's when it really started happening. So, but that's
Weren't
my,
you weren't you kind of scared though? Like, were you a little bit nervous? You
um,
don't really have that personality. I do. I think of
no,
everything, but you just seem like you dive
no.
in.
Yeah, I wasn't really nervous. I don't know. It's like where your passion is. And after
Yeah.
like saving Nova and knowing what she went through in her situation, I just like I guess I became addicted. Like I have an addictive personality, like from the get, you know what I mean? And I just jumped into it and it's easy for me to do. But then after like pulling Roxy and then, Tonka and Mr. Peabody and all these other dogs and then like these owner surrenders started coming in, I think it was just easy for me to know where they came from and the shit they've been through and what they look like and their health issues and things like that. It's just easy for me to do. Is it stressful now? Yeah, absolutely. But I think I
Yeah.
thrive in chaos for sure. But
You
this is
seem
about
to.
you. You're the OG. I'm not the OG. You're the OG.
Well, it's funny because I don't get a chance to talk to you, and people will ask me, they're like, "Well, what's this dog story?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Like, I haven't had a chance to call, and so we don't really get a
Yeah,
chance to talk very often. And I never knew how it started, so
right.
um,
Yeah, I guess that's how it started. But I love it. I mean, I fucking love this shit. Like, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, the best part
mhm.
of my day is coming home to these dogs and knowing that they're literally waiting for their human to come home every day. That's the best part of their day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In the
Hmm.
mornings, it can be a little chaotic because they all start getting up and they're like, okay, let's go. We're going to go potty. We're going to eat. Not everyone can eat together. Not everyone can go outside and potty together, things like that. So we have a
Hmm.
pretty tight rotation down here. And I like to bring the dogs. That's one thing I want to talk to you about. I like to bring the dogs back with me first, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like to know for a couple days, a week or so, what's going on with them. So I know that I'm trying to place them in the right foster home for them to be successful and for the foster to be successful and for safety issues. So, do you think that I should be doing that? Because a lot of rescues just literally the dog's in the shelter. If you're going to foster, go get the dog and then, or transport or pick the dog up from the shelter and then drop it off at the new fosters. Like, would you be okay with something like that? Not really knowing a lot about the dog. Like, I know you and I know your dogs, you know what I'm saying? And like the
Yeah.
situation that you would rather be in. Do you think that's better as a foster or just like, oh, here you go?
So I think if there is a choice to vet the dog first, it's probably better. And I'm not just speaking on my experience. I would think just in general, because I know there's times when the dogs are sick, and I've gotten better with dogs that are sick,
Yeah.
but I also know that there's a lot of things I can't do. And if somebody's a brand new foster and the dog gets sick, are you going to have to bring the dog back?
Right.
So I know you keep them, you make sure that they don't have any major health issues. If they do, you place them with somebody that can handle it. So I
Yeah.
think the vetting process is good, but I also understand why it might be necessary to do it the other way.
Yeah.
I when you sign up to be a foster, and that's what I always tell people, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
You take whatever dog you get, you keep that dog until it gets adopted. You cannot give up. So,
Pink.
you know, I understand that if you're like, yeah, you got to take this dog. Okay, it is what it is.
I,
So my
I do
only
my best.
concern,
It can be
yeah,
chaotic here though, like because I can only pull so many dogs to save so many lives when I have to start them all off here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think that once a foster starts fostering a few times, then it's easy for me to, I guess, decide which dog can go in which foster. And a lot of people are applying to foster. Number one, because it's French bulldog. And number two, oh, that dog's cute. I want to foster it. That dog's an asshole. You don't want that dog around your fucking dogs. I'm telling you right now, like, just because it's cute doesn't mean it's going to be easy to take care of, you
yeah,
know? And I think that's like
yeah,
my biggest thing right now with people applying to foster, which I appreciate. I'm not saying that I don't, you know what I mean? But to
yeah,
foster a dog because it's just cute or something like that because they absolutely feel bad, that doesn't mean that that dog's going to be a good fit for your dogs. And Frenchies are nasty. They're great dogs, but they're
mhm,
assholes. They really truly are assholes. I
yeah,
definitely have some aggressive ones on my plate that, like Tater, you can't touch his face. He will tear you up. He
oh
shredded
wow,
my son's hand, like shredded it. It
wow,
was all, yeah, like because he came in the house, put his backpacks down, just all in a rush, and something hit his face. Like I was bending over giving treats and like petting him behind his head, and my
hmm,
necklace got in his face, and he came up and bit my face. So
wow,
yeah, he's cute. He's adorable. If I put him up for adoption, he'll probably go fast just because of what he looks like. But it's not how it goes. It's not feasible.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
tiring, but I love it and I love bringing them in. I just wish I had like a bigger space, I guess, to bring more in and monitor them. She's blind. She's just like
Oh, is that what's her name again?
Penelope.
Um,
Peen
Penelope.
Peen. So she's hearing everything and she just wants to like, derp.
Oh my gosh.
So,
See, this is why people want to foster. Look at that face.
I don't know. And
There's
she's
something, and
easy.
she's blind.
Yeah, she's blind. And she
Wow.
walks a little crooked, but she gets around and she's actually really good. She doesn't resource guard or anything. She's super easy. But
Was
working
she
on
at
potty
breeder
training.
surrender?
She was at Riverside County Shelter.
Mm.
I got
Oh,
her
okay.
when I got Harvey and Riddle. So okay, back to you. Let's talk about okay, what are your limits? What are your limits on like what are you willing to take in and not take in? Like be for real, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
would you take in a paralyzed dog that you have to express?
I mean, I would. I would say I personally don't really have any limits. You are aware of my limits of Rocco because he is an asshole. He's starting to get a little bit jealous,
Yeah.
so I've had to navigate that a little bit. But I mean, if it was just me and I could take dogs, I would have a ton of dogs. Like
You.
I love taking them. It just has gotten stressful a couple times with Rocco because he's never like hurt a dog per se, but he scares them.
Yeah.
And some
And
of
that's
these
just
dogs
half.
are
So
already
it's stressful
fragile.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's stressful for the other dogs too because they'll start coming out of their shell and then I've noticed when Rocco has done that, they get a little scared. And
Hmm.
then I feel bad for the dogs because I'm trying to make them feel safe and be in a good environment. But I think I've got it figured out pretty well. I mean, if I have
Yeah.
to separate them or do those kind of things, I would say like you said, I don't really have any limits, but the potting training is a challenge.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
it's crazy. Uh,
Jade.
but oh man, Jade literally destroyed my entire house, rugs, everything. My
You need
daughter,
them
well,
washable
you know
rugs
this
from
story.
get those washable rugs from Costco. That's what I have to do. I swear.
Yeah, and she's so little. My daughter was like, "Oh my God, this dog!" And I was like, "Just throw everything outside." Because Brianna watched her
Yeah.
for a weekend while I was gone, and she was like, "I can't believe this dog." So, but I think I've also gotten more experience. Obviously, like
Yeah.
that is the one thing. I've always had dogs, but you grow up thinking, "Oh, it's just a dog." And then as time goes on, you realize no, they all have personalities. They all, communicate in their dog ways, and then you start to understand. Um, so I've learned a lot, and I've been able to kind of shift and do things differently.
Yeah.
So the potty training isn't that much a big a deal now, but it's a challenge. It's definitely, I don't know how you do
Right.
it with all those dogs.
It's hard because we don't know like when they're coming in, especially these puppy mill dogs, like they eat their own shit. Like it sucks. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And they don't know. They just go to the bathroom wherever they want. They've had no guidance. So it's like you have to
Yeah.
teach them all about potty outside, the words, everything like that. And then when the dog goes to the new home, like the doctor's home, I try to do, that's why you guys talk to them. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
how I did it or whatever. And trying to keep those same words in line at the same time, I guess. I don't know. That's what I
Yeah.
try to do. So,
It's a challenge too with the heat,
oh, that's huge.
because you don't want to keep them outside very long, but at the same time, they don't just go right away. You
Right.
know what I
You know,
mean?
sit around,
So you
hang
kind
out.
of
Even my girls, they're potty trained and they're having accidents in the house because they're like, fuck this heat. Like, it just
yeah.
sucks. They can't be out there like that. They won't even, I'll open the door and they won't even go outside. They're like, no.
Yeah, that's how Rocco is. He's
That's
like,
the
"You're
devil's
crazy."
playground. We're not going out there.
Yeah, exactly. No, Rocco will stay inside all day and then he'll finally go outside in the evening. But um so the dog I have right now, your little puppy Ozzy,
Hmm.
he's 9 months. But he's really good. We're working on potty training, but he's a really good little puppy. And Rocco actually tolerates him. Rocco
Yeah.
hasn't done really anything to him. He just
Who is
kind of
Rocco's favorite?
glares
Who
at
is
him.
Rocco's favorite?
Gigi.
Gigi.
Rocco loved Gigi. Everybody loved Gigi. We still talk
Gigi.
about Gigi.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Do you
she was
regret
a
not
good kitty.
adopting her? But I don't let fosters adopt, but I will let you adopt her. You loved
I,
her.
yeah, I did. Sometimes I do, but I know she went to a great home,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's what it's about. So, but I do, I liked her. She was a good little girl, and she was, I like the ugly, broken ones. Gigi looked
I got a lot
crazy.
of those for you.
Yeah,
I got a lot of
yeah,
those for you. So what
yeah.
do you think the hardest part about rescuing or fostering is? Like what is it for you? Like the hardest part? Or what would you tell to other people that want to apply to foster? Things like that.
Like I said, it's a commitment. if you're going to commit to being a foster, you're going to have to understand you take what you get. And there's going to be things that happen that you can't even predict. And you can't call and say, I don't want to do this anymore. You can, but if
Oh,
you're
they
going to do
pause.
that, if you're going to do that, then you probably should not foster, you
Right.
know? Um, so I think the hardest has been the stress when the dogs are sick. And, I've called you a couple of times and
Yeah.
been really scared because you do not want this dog to die on your watch. Or you just
You'd be
don't
like,
want
I
them
don't
to
know
be
how
in
you're so
pain.
calm. How do you stay so calm? How do you
Yeah, exactly.
take
So
yourself, or
that's
just
been hard.
remove yourself, and take some time for yourself too, just remove yourself from the situation is what I say for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I've gotten better with it. But like I said, I've never had you know, I think people need to understand that the difference between adopting a dog, you bring that dog home, you might deal with potty training, you might deal with them getting sick, because most dogs do get at least an upset stomach in the beginning.
yeah,
You transition through it and you have your dog. Well, if you're fostering, you pretty much are doing that all the time. So all that work that you did when you first got your dog, understand that that's going to happen constantly.
with every
And
dog.
it every single dog. I've never gotten a dog to where they didn't have stomach issues or potty issues or something, even just getting
Kennel
used
cough.
to the schedule. Yeah.
Right.
And most of these dogs are broken. They're uh, scared or
Well, that's why
sad.
we have them. If they weren't broken,
Hmm.
they wouldn't be
Exactly.
here. That's why I'm trying to
Exactly.
get people to understand we're a rescue for a reason. The
Yeah.
rescue dogs, they take a little bit extra. I say it's kind of like, I want to say kind of like getting a puppy.
Yeah. It is.
Everything's new for them. Your house is new. The smells are new. Your dogs are new. The water bowl's new. It's like going to work for the first day on your job, or a kid starting school at a new school, something like that. That's kind of what I try to compare it to.
Yeah. I will say though, I haven't had one dog that it usually takes about a week for them to start getting used to the routine. I've had situations to where they still need to get potty trained, of course, longer
Right.
than a week. But as far as like getting in a schedule, knowing where they're going to eat, knowing this is where they're going to sleep at night, it takes about a week. And they're once I get through that, they're actually really good dogs. Like they're just go with the flow. If you
Yeah.
get through that and take care of the health issues and all of that, all the dogs that I have fostered have been so good. You
Aw.
know, they
That's
just really
you're
have.
good. You got to vibe. You have to vibe with these dogs too. They feel your energy. I mean, when I go in your house, it's always calming and chill and whatever. I mean, Rocco might be a little pissed off when he sees me coming into her because he's like, "Is this bitch bringing me another fucking dog or something? Like, what's going on here?" But I always go love on
Yeah,
him. But it's all about your energy that you carry, the energy in your home too. And I think that you really do a great job with providing them what they need with that too. So it can help them
yeah,
transition a little bit easier over. That's what I
yeah.
think. What is so
I have a pretty
rewarding
calm
about it?
house.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Seeing them transition, I
Yeah.
love seeing them come out of their shell and go from being terrified to, running around, you know, taking the lead. And I have four people that have adopted that I know have adopted. So I've got to see those dogs even
Thank
after they
you.
have left me. And even after they leave me, they are still developing and growing. And it's funny, I'll talk to them and I talk to the people that adopted Jade. And
Yeah.
the first day you brought Jade, she laid on the ground like she was scared.
Yeah.
And Jade is over there terrorizing them. Like she's like getting into stuff. They were like, she's a sneaky little devil. She got into the Cheez-Its on the counter the other day,
Did
or
you really?
yeah. And she just runs the show. And then when we were talking about Abby with my stepmom, I mean, my dad has very big dogs, labs, and
Yeah.
like a Great Dane lab mix. Like these dogs are big, and Abby is the boss of all of them,
Yeah, she
you
is.
know?
And the cats.
So, yeah, yeah. So it's just funny that they tell me some of the things these dogs are doing there. I'm like, they never did that with me, but it's because they're even just getting even more comfortable and now their personalities are really coming out.
Right.
So I do love that part about it. It's
Yeah.
very fun to watch.
And like what you see, you're like, oh, they didn't do that with me. Like that's what I say to you guys. Like, they didn't do that at my house. You know what I mean, or whatever. You know, like the one dog's attacking their dog or whatever. I'm like, they're around all my dogs all the time. But they didn't do that at my house. So sometimes I'm like, maybe the transition was a little bit too fast for them or something like that. You know, it just depends. But
Yeah.
I love when they go into a new home and then like a month or two later, like your mom sends me pictures of Abby. You know, it's been
Hmm.
almost, was it 9 months or something like that? And I'm like, oh
It's
my
been a
god,
while. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
I
long
was
time.
shocked. Well,
So
even Tuesday, I took Ozzy, the puppy I have right now, to see my daughter who just adopted
Toby,
Toby. And Toby looks so good. He's
yeah,
gained weight. I was like, oh my gosh, he's gotten really big, and they just love him to death. And
that's
Toby's
my favorite
completely
is
spoiled.
when I go like when I see them after my fosters and they're like fat and I'm like, oh, you guys are
Yeah,
making them fat and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Get them all fat, nice and puppy.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
when I got him, he was a hard transition. He didn't want to eat. He didn't eat for quite a while, and just got real thin. But it's a great environment for him because
I
they
think
have
so.
other dogs, and he was a little bit timid, and Rocco really had him scared. So I think just being over there, like he's living his best life. So
Yeah. And her husband walks him like in the morning. And
yeah,
soon
her husband did it.
Toby's gonna be
Yeah,
golfing soon.
he probably will. Well, my dad has a golf cart, and Abby
She's on
gets
that
in that
thing.
cart. She rides everywhere, and if they don't take her, she pouts all day. Like she
Right.
legit will sit there and pout
I
if
love
they
that they
don't.
live on a farm and she gets to just do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Let me think. Funny, okay, the funniest, like most hilarious experience you've had in fostering so far.
Um, Jade, she has separation anxiety, and I hated leaving her because she would just freak out. She
Really?
would break out of her crate. So my friend was having a party, her husband's birthday party, and I was like, "Can I bring Jade?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's fine." And so I took Jade, and throughout the night, everywhere was Jade. Like I'd walk by and people were holding her like a baby, or at one point she was in a wagon with my friend's husband. Like I'm like,
Right.
clearly people were drinking at this
Right.
point, and there's just Jade. She was not scared at all. She was
Jay
just
didn't go home
chilling.
till 3 o'clock in the morning. She was with
Yeah,
the party all night
she
long.
had the best time. And then they adopted her. They fell in love with her at the party, and so
Yeah.
they were like, she's so chill. So,
Okay. This is a side note. What do you think about being the event coordinator?
oh my goodness,
This is the
I'm
ongoing
not.
joke with Brandee and I. Brandy's so good at events. She's awesome at events. She's like, oh, I have to plan another party. I guess we're having a party for this. And I'm like, well, you love it. You're our event coordinator. So Brandee and her husband uh, planned our barbecue fundraiser. They did all the food for it, sponsored all the food for it, and everything like that, which was amazing. He smoked food for 3 days, and Banks smelled like a barbecue. When he came to the event, I hugged him, and I'm like, "You smell like smoked chicken, bro."
He still
And he
talks about
slept the
Banks.
whole time, and he was the most hyper dog I had at that point in the rescue, and he slept the whole time at the barbecue.
He did. Because they barbecued all night, and Banks stayed out there with them all night. So by the time we went to the event, he was just exhausted. Like he
Right.
didn't move at all. So, but Damien, he always jokes. He's like, "I miss Banks, my barbecue partner." He was like,
Aw.
he stayed with me all night. So
I
Banks
haven't heard.
definitely enjoyed it.
I haven't heard from those adopters at all. So eh,
Aw.
they're a
I
little
think he's the
weird.
only one that you haven't got an update. For the most part, people will
Yeah,
send pictures or,
they
and
do
it's
for
nice.
like a couple weeks at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I haven't got anything. I know he's in a good place. Like I know it's a good family for him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Will we be friends and hang out? Probably not, but that's cool. I'm a lot for people sometimes, so we'll just leave it at that. But you're our event coordinator. You have signed up for
Okay.
that.
I actually didn't sign up for that. You just tagged me on it and told me that that's what I'm doing. So I do go to the events. How about that?
Yes.
How about I
Yeah,
just
you do go
go
to the
and
event.
support?
But you are
Yeah.
always going to help us do the 420 event. Yes.
Right.
Yes. She's like, right. No, right. No, right. Okay. What was like the scariest moment you've ever had with a foster? Like, freak out moment, don't know what to do.
Um, Probably two was Gigi. She had this growth on her neck and it exploded one
So
day.
she had like a surgery on her neck or something like that. And then they started out, but they didn't put a drain tube in her, or they put a drain tube in her and they took it out at the shelter before it should have been taken out. So all of that had built up, like all that pus and fluid and everything in there had built up in her neck. And then when you got her, it kind of exploded, leaked out or whatever. So,
Yeah. And then right around the time that happened, she got really, really sick to where she couldn't even barely breathe. So she was very sick. And then the other time was we were out and about, and my son was supposed to watch Banks, and he didn't. And Banks got into
oh
the
my God,
pantry and ate that
I forgot
chocolate.
about that.
Yeah, it
I
was terrible.
I
It
was
was
like, was it
terrible.
dark chocolate or was it regular chocolate? It was regular chocolate. I'm like,
Yes.
it'll probably be okay. Make him throw up.
Yeah, he was literally throwing up everywhere. We walk in the door, we were like, "Oh my gosh," and I'm calling you, and what do I do? And yeah, he was so sick. I felt so bad for him, but he was fine. I think
Yeah,
he just threw it all up. So
yeah. Peroxide, make him throw up.
yeah,
That's
that's what
it.
I
Dark
ended up
chocolate. So,
doing.
I mean, no chocolate's good, obviously. Dark chocolate is like the worst. That's the lethal one. A lot of people get it like mixed up or whatever, but it's more dark chocolate. Um, but Banks decided to eat a whole bag
Oh
of Halloween candy or something. No, I don't even know if it was
yeah,
Halloween candy. It was
it
something.
was it was Hershey, like the
Kisses.
cookie chips, chocolate chips. But he discovered the Banks was very, very mischievous, and I would keep the pantry door closed.
Yeah.
But my son had left it open because he would go in there and stuff that he could reach, he would take it.
Yeah.
And so he got
I
those
forgot about
chocolate
that.
chips. Yeah.
I forgot he did
So,
that.
and I
That
was
was
so scared
funny.
you were going to be so mad at me. I was like, I'm so sorry. I might have
I'm
killed
not
your
trying to
dog.
kill the dog. Well, I know that. They get into shit. Like, I already know that. You know what I mean? I already know they get
Yeah.
into anything that they can get into. He was hyper, though. Like, I was hyper.
He was
But
very hyper.
but he
Yeah.
loved running around. So I think you've had sick dogs, you've had shitty dogs, and I mean seriously shitting everywhere dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hyper. You haven't had any. I don't do aggressive. I don't give my aggressive dog bells to people. I try to do that myself or give it to my foster that like trains. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
after like all this, there's been too many bites and things like that. Like I have to put a hold on the aggressive. Would you take in an English bulldog, or do you just want to stick to Frenchies? Because I try not to bring in that many English bulldogs into the rescue. Number one, I just don't have room for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
can't have them all at my house. They're bigger dogs. It's a little bit harder. But I have like some fosters that they're I don't know about having an English, things like that. Would you consider taking in an English, or do you just like the little Frenchy guys?
No, I don't have any issues taking them. Like I said, I didn't necessarily say specifically this is all I wanted to do. It's just
Right.
that, this is where I ended up. But no, I wouldn't
I
have
would
any
definitely like
issues.
with Rocco, like it would have. I would try a female first, like if I give you a
Yeah.
English. I think the Frenchy English mixes are cute. Their faces are just something else. I don't know.
I know that black one you got, he's beautiful. He's gonna get adopted so fast. Like,
Yeah, he's getting neutered
I
on
can't even,
Tuesday. Well, there's another one coming in tomorrow. So I have those two Frenchies from California, from Kern County. They're coming in tomorrow. And another English that looks just like him that was in Orange County Shelter in California. So they're all getting transported tomorrow here. But he
oh,
looks
okay.
just like that one. I just don't know if this one's a little bit taller. So I don't know. He's like
Yeah.
45 pounds and he's only a year and a half old. So
Oh, okay.
I don't have.
Yeah, it's amazing. You see these dogs, they're beautiful dogs. And you're just like, why? But I think you had said that when he had that really bad ear infection or
Yeah,
something. So
it was
that might be
bad.
why they had got rid of him.
Yeah,
But
his owner surrender, and they said they're moving too, but it was like
mm,
a little scratch he said on his ear, and he's digging
mm,
at it and it got infected or whatever. But he clearly had some inner ear issues also because they started getting all swollen and filled up. So I've been
mm,
working on that, but it's great now. We had to shave off his ear, like the hair, and
mm,
scrape all of it off. The scab was like gnarly; it was like this big. So
mm,
and I was like
yeah.
wrestling him in the vet in the back room. Like he was not letting anyone fuck with him at all. But we got all cleaned up and now he's doing really good. But Rex is cool. He's already potty trained. That's
Hmm.
already done. He just has to get neutered. He likes to hump people. Like, my whole thing is like when I tell dog like everyone's like down or off, I'm like off, and I'm like fuck, like that's my thing. And then they're like, oh, okay, so it always has to be off and then fuck whenever I'm telling the dogs to get off of someone or not to jump on someone or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he was at a foster, and then their dog just didn't get along with him.
Oh,
I picked him up
okay.
this morning. They just didn't get along with him. They have a male that just didn't get along with him. They were trying to go at each other through the crates and stuff, and
Ooh,
maybe it's because it's
yeah.
not fixed. I think
Hmm.
that fixing them does not solve the problems. It can bring it down a little bit, but it really is all in the person. So I
Yeah.
think you're a great foster. I love you to death. Like, I love talking to you on the
Same.
phone. I love having conversations when I'm on the road. You would call me and be like, "Where are you?" I'm like, on the road again. Yeah, I'm on the road again.
You are on the road a lot. I get
Yeah.
tired sometimes just thinking about everything that you do. So,
Well,
but you said that you love it, so
I do
it's
love it.
probably
I
doesn't
love
seem
it.
as much. But
Well,
yeah,
thank
you
you for
you do a
helping
lot.
the dogs. You do a lot, and you've adopted a lot out on your own. I like you have free reign. Like you're the foster that has free reign. I'm gonna set up a meet and greet. Okay, well, I'm gonna be out of town. Can you handle the adoption? Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're having our next event. You're like, I'm not your event coordinator, but okay.
Well, my goal is to we laugh like everybody you know is gonna have a Frenchie. I was like, yeah, I think that's a good goal.
I think that's a
So
good goal.
everybody loves them. Anybody that's adopted them is like, oh my God, this is my baby,
Yeah.
and they love them so much. So,
I think you had Romy for
um,
like 1 week.
oh my gosh, Romy was the best dog ever, though. She really was. But now, yeah, she's got her little car seat and gets her pup cups, and
Yeah.
she
She's
gets
bougie.
best life. Yeah, she is. She
I
came
love
to the
it.
party, this last party we had.
The casino
That's all.
party.
Yeah, she was all over the place. It was
Did you
funny.
guys put the
So
dogs in tuxedos and everything?
we did not, but she did have her little bow on. She
Aw.
wears her bows and all of
Yay.
that. So
Oh my God, that's
yeah,
awesome. Well, Brandee, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. And I love you so much. And I'm so happy you're part of what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish with these guys. I know it's not a huge impact that we're doing, but every little bit counts. That's what I say right now. Because
yeah,
the shelters are so full, rescues are completely bursting at the seams, funding's low. And we have our event next Saturday for Luke Day. So that should be really
yeah,
fun. So I'll see you
yeah, for
there. But
sure.
thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
I
having
love
me, and thank you
you.
for everything you do too.
Oh, bye. I'll talk to you.